What's up everybody, welcome to Found Flicks. On this Ending Explained, we'll be looking at the post-apocalypse road trip thriller How It Ends, detailing the initial fallout after a mysterious event throws the planet into chaos. And the cause of the apocalypse is certainly mysterious, because the movie frustratingly never reveals the cause. These elements are more or less in the background, with the story much more focused on the cross-country road trip of Tom and Will to find the missing Sam, their daughter and pregnant girlfriend respectively, which leads to one of the most abrupt endings I can recall in recent memory, as the movie seems to simply give up on itself and just kinda end. So I can't fix that aspect to the ending, but I can safely say that I do know the cause of the apocalypse based on several clues that we are presented with over the story. So let's check out how it ends, breaking down the story, the ending, and what's behind the earth-shattering event. Things begin in a hopeful place, introducing us to couple Will and Sam, who learn they are having a baby boy. But there is one problem: they aren't married yet, and Will has to ask Sam's ballbuster dad Tom for his daughter's hand in marriage. She urges him to not be too freaked out, as long as he doesn't bring up the boat incident, which we find out about later, and seems to be the entire basis for why her dad doesn't like Will. And on the way to his flight, they tell each other goodbye.
I love you.
I love you too.
Can't you just feel the love, guys? Arriving in Chicago at Sam's parents' high-rise apartment, things are already pretty awkward right off the bat, with Tom treating him quite coldly. We see that he served in the armed forces, and it's obvious for some reason he doesn't respect Tom whatsoever, and is most likely just a protective hard-ass, especially considering his military background. At dinner, they discuss helping Sarah and him purchase a house, but Tom voices concern about protecting his money if the two wind up breaking up. Geez, what a dick. And Will just kind of takes it until Tom suggests that the two move to Seattle to get away from him, and Will is pushed too far to remain quiet, revealing it was actually Sam's idea to move, not his own. And it is specifically because of not wanting her father breathing down her neck all the time. And I'm already starting to see why. Now things are incredibly uncomfortable, and Sam's mom pretty much kicks Will out of their home after this argument. Well, that didn't go so well, and he didn't even get to ask about getting married. The next morning, he's awoken by a video call from Sam. Somehow he overslept and is running late for his flight, but missing a flight will be the least of his concerns, as a strange crackling comes over the phone. She responds mysteriously that something is wrong, looking away. Then the signal breaks up and the call is dropped. When he repeatedly attempts to call back, he cannot reach her, so he still tries to catch his flight, until it, along with every flight, is canceled completely. Something definitely strange is going on here. No one knows what the heck it is though, with a reporter on TV saying only there was a large seismic event off the California coast, resulting in all power and telecommunications down on the entire seaboard, but have no further information. And that's the end of that too, as the TV signal distorts away, cutting to nothingness. This is a huge element to how the story is told, where we are given very little, pretty much no information about the grander story or specifics of this major event. We're stuck in the trenches with Will and everything in his personal perspective. If he doesn't know, we don't know. Already the airport is beginning to turn into a shit show, with people jammed outside trying to get cab rides. And it's only by giving one cabbie $200 that he is able to get back to the city, where, not knowing where else to head, returns to Sam's parents' apartment. Unsurprisingly, her parents are already packing up to leave, and Tom is just as worried about Sam as he is, as they haven't been able to contact her either since the incident. Considering a plan of action to get to her, with the airports down, they have no other option but to drive to Seattle, asking if Will will come with them. The two then set off on a life-changing road trip, where they encounter a number of signs that these are the end times of society as we know it. Even before getting out of the city, it's already pretty much a Mad Max scenario at the gas station, with a huge pile of cars and people all fighting for supplies. And of course, cash only. There's also already hustling goons on the prowl, with a girl approaching Will hitting on him, which he rebuffs. And quickly other bros show up asking what's going on, and extorting money from the two to get them to leave them alone. Tom plays along, saying he has cash in the trunk, instead pulling a gun on the gang, scaring them off in a hurry. Back on the road, Will complains about not telling him he brought a gun along, but Tom wisely considers if they had taken their car, it would already have been game over for their journey, and he is not gonna let that happen. They soon encounter another problem though. The army has blockaded the main highway out of the city, since they don't even know what is going on. And it's a matter of public safety to not have people wandering around outside. That isn't enough to stop Tom, who appeals to the soldier describing his situation and asking for his help. And the soldier relents, letting them pass through and get out to the open road, out there finding pretty much no one else around or any sign of life, everything already appearing completely abandoned. Until after driving late into the night, they pull over after a cop car appears behind them flashing its lights. And guess what? It's not a police officer but another crazy survival guy opening fire on them, and they speed off. Still in pursuit, they are able to escape momentarily using another abandoned vehicle to block his path and lose him. Slinking through the darkness with their lights off, they switch them on and are surprised when deer leap out onto the road, causing them to swerve and crash, allowing their pursuer to catch up, but is taken out by Tom, who gets the jump on him. The crash caused some damage to their vehicle as well as breaking some of Tom's ribs, and now they have to find a garage of some kind to repair the car to even continue their trek. They happen upon an Indian reservation, meeting a young girl, Ricky, who is able to repair their car. Will hears on the radio someone trying to understand how an event like this could happen, and that all the satellites around the world are down, while Will witnesses a certainly strange sight, birds flying in the air in an odd formation in the sky. Tom, worried about other car problems potentially for the rest of the trip, asks Ricky to join them, and she actually is trying to get to California herself, wanting to be a rapper, which is ridiculous. She does agree to tag along, only after Tom doubles his original offer to $2 grand, and it does seem like she has other motivation to want to leave the reservation when she's spotted by 2 others on the way out, telling them to keep driving and not wanting any trouble. Seems like something was going on with these guys. In the car, we get another little clue about what is going on, as Ricky shows a compass to the other 2, seeing the needle flying all over the place, indicating that the magnetic fields in the area are out of whack. Later, they witness a car wreck right in front of them, one car literally flying off the road. And when they go to check out the aftermath, more scavengers soon pull up to the wreck and 3 dudes get out, causing them to get driving and almost leaving Ricky behind. But Will demands they stop to get her, to Tom's annoyance. Filling up with gas, Will and Ricky get a little more friendly until something demands their attention. Massive, strange, swirling clouds covering the sky are seen as lightning strikes nearby, hitting a telephone pole, and they hurriedly get back on the road as extremely heavy rains begin to fall, and they eventually take cover under a bridge to wait out the storm. As the days wear on, things are only becoming more dangerous, as it looks like the temperature outside is starting to get increasingly hotter as well. Will's seen cranking the AC in the car. In another example, when the trio decide to stop at a rundown water park to look for supplies, and Ricky is quite excited to jump into a pool, hoping it would cool her down. However, it's hot, caused by the aggressively rising temperature outside, and have yet another interaction with scavengers, coming to a stopped van in the road and a woman asking for help with a flat tire. Ricky and Will still decide to be nice and help her out, but it appears to be a trap as armed men surround them, demanding they hand over their gas. Will begs with them to leave them 1 tank, but they refuse, basically leaving them to die. Understanding how dire the situation is, they quickly chase after the men, and when they catch up, Ricky is able to shoot out their tire, causing the car to violently crash. They still do their best to help the men, but with gas pouring out of the car, they have to make the choice to get their own fuel back and not save them, putting their own survival first. The car exploding and killing all of them. They're all understandably upset over this, but Ricky is even more so, believing that they killed them, and she did take the shot that caused them to crash. But the truth is, they did rob from them in the first place, and in this kind of environment, you have to do whatever you can to survive. She's inconsolable though, thinking she's made a horrible choice coming along with them, and wanders off on her own, the 2 thinking she just needs a minute to calm down. Though when they wake up on the next morning, on day 4, she along with her stuff is gone for good. And I really thought Ricky would come back later in the movie, because that's pretty much what always happens in these kinds of stories. You know, comes back at the end to save the day or whatever, but nope. She's gone and never comes back, and we don't even find out what happens to her after she leaves. Oh well, unabated the 2 continue, happening upon a wrecked train that was carrying military vehicles to look for gas. Tom's injuries are becoming more severe, coughing up blood, but amongst the wreckage they find a medical kit that alleviates the pressure in his lungs and allows him momentary relief to breathe. Back in the car, the 2 finally begin to open out to each other, discussing their own fathers, Will revealing his left when he was a child, and while Tom's didn't leave, he remembers him as a shitty father but a good man, with his heart in the right place. seeming to refer to his own domineering nature, though he does have a request for Will, and makes Will promise he will always keep his daughter safe, which of course he agrees to. And Tom surprisingly admits that he knew about Sam's pregnancy this whole time, but never told this to Will throughout the trip. And Will, it turns out, has a secret of his own, that the infamous boat incident that wrecked Tom's precious boat didn't actually have him behind the wheel, but a drunk Sam instead, and he took the blame for her. And Tom finally understands he is a good man, and will be a good father for his grandkid after he's gone. Crossing a bridge entering into another town, Will considers they could get help for Tom here, but when coming to a truck blocking the road, it's obvious they're not here to help them. Even when Will explains the situation, they offer to help, but he knows better now, getting back in the car and flooring it in reverse as motorcycles follow after. They make a sweet Fast and Furious maneuver, blowing up the truck and allowing them to escape, but it's too late for Tom, now lying unmoving in the back seat. And Will, after checking on him, knows that he's passed on from his injuries. But at least they were able to come to an understanding with each other before he perished, and all Will can do now is keep pressing on, until the car begins to break down, a check engine light on the dash mocking him as the car completely ceases to function, as he continues on foot, entering into day 5 after the incident. It was around this point in the movie I started wondering just how many miles is it exactly from Chicago to Seattle, which after a quick search on Google Maps would take 31 hours, but we're on day 5 already, or 120 hours. I know they've had some slowdowns along the trip, but they've been driving for a long time too, and it's definitely taking way longer than it should for Will to get to Seattle. Damn narrative conveniences. Will gets picked up by a family on the side of the road, the disheveled father agreeing to take him as far west as they can. Arriving at a house, which it turns out is Will's dad's, he generously offers them the place to stay and the food inside, in exchange for the family's Jeep, to which the father agrees, allowing Will to return to his seemingly never-ending pilgrimage, though he is finally approaching his ultimate destination, passing a sign that Seattle is 284 miles away, seeing flames burning amongst the skyline remnants in the distance, the destruction becoming more severe the closer he gets. At 30 miles outside of town, there's ash raining down, which whatever it is toxic enough to cause Will to cough as soon as he breathes it in. Entering the city limits, the environment is even more ravaged with debris and bodies littering everywhere, and ash covering the entire landscape, the aftermath of a huge tidal wave, as we learn in a bit. Reaching what must have been Sam's apartment building, he climbs the ladder outside, discovering the entire half of the building is gone, giving him another view of even more of the city's total destruction. So, well, looks like Sam is dead, huh? But maybe all isn't lost, noticing a note written on a door to come find her along with an address. It must be her. Getting to the house, he's greeted by a man firing at him, but Sam emerges from inside, rushing to Will. She's alive! The two embracing finally together after this harrowing journey through the wasteland. He can't believe she's alive either, and even the baby is okay too. Phew! But this other dude, Jeremiah, that helped Sam get out of the city is obviously super jealous that Will is back. Like, oh man, I hope Mr. Dreamy was dead and I could take over as daddy. Even though it's definitely an odd situation, she expresses that she appreciates what the man did, who is their former neighbor, saying he was responsible for getting her to safety. Later, another rumble awakens Will, who right outside sees the northern lights going on right there. Wonder if they've got any steamed hams a-cooking. Finding Sam and Jeremiah hanging at a campfire, Jeremiah fills us in on what he thinks caused the event, believing it to be man-made, even saying he's seen intel to support this, that it could have been a man-made bomb that was dropped on the coast and caused the fallout. But Will doesn't agree, based on what he's seen out there on the road could possibly be man-made, and it's more likely Jeremiah is just speculating, as many conspiracy theorist types do, about how the government controls everything. In bed with Sam, she recalls seeing ash clouds over the ocean and cities when the event occurred, as another rumble goes off. Sam saying they're happening all the time now, but they don't let that stop them from some spicy time. That ain't no earthquake, that's just you and me, baby. Later, catching a glimpse of Jeremiah out by the car, uses the excuse of seeing two kids and thought they took something, asking Will to join him checking the perimeter. He quickly realizes it was a setup, Jeremiah turning a gun on him, saying he wants Sam to stay with him, but Will takes him down first, which happens to coincide with another huge event arriving, as a massive ash cloud manifests, and Will rushes back to get Sam and get on the road. They speed down a mountain with the fiery cloud gaining on their tail, enveloping the entire landscape behind them. Despite this, Will thinks everything's going to be fine, telling Sam he loves her, but sure doesn't look like they're gonna make it, as the clouds nip at the back of the car, but they dissipate, pulling back and allowing them to keep going. The end. I know. This was definitely one extremely abrupt ass ending. You're like, oh wow, that sure is getting close. Are they gonna make it? And credits. I don't know if they ran out of money or what the heck happened, maybe a cliffhanger for a sequel, but they picked a pretty strange moment to call it quits, Not even one last beat with them making it out, and Will is like, phew, that was close. Let's keep heading north or whatever. Though from what I can tell, it does look like they at least escaped this final doom cloud and keep going after this moment, rather than the entire movie being a completely futile journey. Hooray, he finally found Sam after the entire movie, and now quickly after being reunited, they're both dead. Thanks, movie! So again, it really does appear that they survive the end, with the cloud pulling away and they drive off. But perhaps even more frustratingly, they never exactly reveal what the cause is behind the apocalypse, with Jeremiah being the only one in the movie who even considers what caused it. And sorry, Jeremiah, but you are totally wrong. Based on the few clues that we are presented with over the course of the movie, it makes it pretty clear what the cause is: the flipping of the Earth's magnetic poles. Throughout history, the North and South poles have flipped every several 100,000 years. That is, except for now, where they haven't successfully flipped in about 780,000 years. Though recently, there appears to be signs of this shifting beginning. Our planet is protected by a magnetic field to protect us from lethal levels of radiation and other things like solar rays. They don't enter our atmosphere because the magnetic field deflects them. So if the field is shifting with the poles, it leaves us open to numerous forms of devastation, and could send humanity the way of the dinosaurs, such as the aforementioned radiation, which would take out our satellites after eating through the ozone, and since all satellites are linked, would quickly lead to a massive power loss. All of this is explicitly seen in the film, like the power loss, the shifting of the tides causing the huge waves that hit the coast, as well as the compass going nuts, since it uses the Earth's magnetic field. Though there is one potential perk of this according to NASA, which would be a spike in aurora lights displays at low altitudes, as seen by Will at the end. It's pretty obvious what they're going for here. Those scientists are still unsure of the connection between the poles flipping and mass destruction. It's more than apparent based on the evidence given in the movie that this is what is going on here, and caused the apocalypse in the story. With that, we have reached the conclusion of this ending explained on how it ends. Oh, and don't forget, you can send me video suggestions on my social media accounts of any kind at FoundFlix, and I just might do them, like this one. Thanks for the suggestion, guys. What did you guys think of how it ends and its ending? Do you think they got away at the end, or were they just killed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.